Had a recently rescheduled meeting this afternoon that I was going to do some great stuff in, and then because it was rescheduled, I thought I would have the chance to finally, you got that work that is sort of like urgent. No, wait, very valuable but low urgency, and this is kind of stuff I've always had in the back burner. Now you might be able to see something right back here. What I'm going to do is for this episode is I'm going to give a little, do a little test of a 2 camera setup. Now, why am I doing this? Now, we do a lot of executive roundtables and other events like that where we talk with people. It's great. It's really fun to do these things and talk with people. And I think I mentioned this some time ago, but we're doing this new one based on a bit of a silly lark thing that my kids and I did back in the summer, which is tasting Nutella on things. And so we're instead of doing wine tasting or a magic show or other things like that we do in some of the other events, we're testing out what if I hosted tasting some Nutella things. So we've done a little dry run of it, so to speak, and it went really well. So I wanted to set up this 2 camera display, right? Because if I test eating it here, it doesn't work out very well. But check this out. What I've done is I have set up. You can actually put 2 cameras here. Now I'm also testing this out, my other thing in Restream here, which is a way of streaming to multiple places. But you see, I'm gonna have to get a better setup here than this, but this will do for now. We can go through. There's my big head, and then there's the 2 cameras. So here's what we're gonna do, and then I'll wrap it up. Now we have these adorable little Nutella glasses. Those are nice, and if you remember. My coloring's a little off there, but whatever. Now, if you remember, we have these great spoons. As I said earlier, spoons are great. They're good to do work with. So I'm going to put these back over here. Now, I'm not going to actually use one of the 4 items we have in the tasting thing because then, you need to come to the exclusive tasting event. If you're some sort of person who is working on changing the way your organization functions, or you're an executive or a manager, or someone who's working on application development, making decisions about Kubernetes getting installed, management and executive level stuff, you should send me an email. Maybe you'd like to come to one of these, especially if you're in Europe. Anyhow, I'm not going to use some of the things that we have in there, and there's a pretty good gradient of stuff we have there. But I'm going to use something that we have a lot of here, which is Pringles, sour cream and onion. And then you'll get a sense of what it kind of looks like. Now, Pringles, I didn't really look up Pringles because I'm just doing this on a lark, but I'm pretty sure it's American, right? And I think they're famous. Well, they're famous for 3 things. 1, they taste good. 3, back in the days of the early internet, you could take these tubes and do like some directional Wi-Fi stuff. My old friend Mason, he works at a company over in San Francisco. And they don't use Pringle tubes, but they do wireless, super fast internet. But way, way back in the 90s, people would rig this stuff up to go over valleys and mountains, and not over mountains, but between mountains. So the other thing, if you look at a chip, I haven't really verified this, but at some point, I remember reading that probably like a lot of chips, these Pringles are made out of they're artificially made, right? You don't cut a potato to look like that. It is combined together. Now, Pringles are great, right? I ate a lot of these when I was growing up as a kid. But let's go right into. I'm going to take out some of these, and I'll show you what we do in our tasting here. So, like I said, I need a better setup because, and you'll have to pardon me as I look over here. I think okay. See, this is good. It's good practice. What I need to do, I need to put this on my screen over here so that I can kind of see it out of the corner of my eye. So what we'll do is we'll have this stuff here. These chips. Let's get a couple out there. And you see I've got one of these webcam grade things, which means it does autofocusing. Whatever. It's fine. So here's what we're going to do. Let me put the chips here. Now, this is where, the spoon comes into play, because if you got this tiny jar, and let's be honest, if you had a large jar, right, let's see if that focuses. I'm going to need to put some light over here on this. But, first of all, this chip there we go. See, the chip does not fit in there, right? That's not good. So I think what we'll do is we'll use, let me see, adjust this camera. You'll see me a little bit, but you'll at least see some behind the scenes action. So at the very least, what we can do is we'll use the back of the spoon here. Now, when you're first tasting I'm sure my mic's a little off because it's over here, but when you're first tasting a Nutella thing, I want to suggest two modes. Now, if you want to be super scientific, you can taste the thing on its own, but I've eaten enough Pringle chips in my life that I don't need to. What you want to do is you want to spread a whole lot of Nutella on the first time, right? Because what you'll find is that if you have a lot of Nutella, it cancels out any other taste. You're just going to taste the Nutella, which is good. But so let's go with this. I'm going to set this down here, and then I'm just for my experimentation, I'm going to switch back to the big head. There we go. So you can see we have got a lot of Nutella on there. Now, I probably shouldn't eat the whole chip. That's something that you really should figure out. That's a personal thing. Do you bite pieces of a chip, or do you eat the whole chip? Being a Texan, I've eaten a lot of chips and salsa in my life, and I don't really think there's a right way to do it. I go back and forth between the two. So I'm gonna eat just half of it. Now, like I said, when you put that much Nutella on anything, you pretty much taste the Nutella. But what you have to notice is first you'll taste the Nutella, and then sometimes there'll be an aftertaste to it. Now let me, eat the rest of that. It's also good to have some water. Now, that may seem crazy, but people also have like sea salt in chocolate, which when that came out, I remember that was crazy. And it turns out, according to some science I read on the internet, which I think is real, but that means, what do I know? I'm not a lawyer. That they found that when you taste salty things, it kind of activates some other way of tasting sweet things than you normally have. So that's why something like sea salt and chocolate is good. So let's go back in and let's try out just a little bit of Nutella so that we can mix the flavors together better. All right, let's put it on here. See how that works out. Kind of spread it out. Because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to eat see, it's kind of flaky. I'm going to try to eat the entire chip this time. And see how that works out. So, there we go. Just for good measure, the chips are built this way. I'm going to layer on another chip. Because what I want to do is I want to try out the Pringle, the sour cream and onion Pringle, with, a flavor of Nutella on it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it's not really anything. Now, the thing is, it's really good, as I'll explain ironically, it's really nice to have a crunchy thing to contrast with the smooth Nutella. Now, of course, what's funny is Nutella is, I think the official amount for Nutella is it's like 13%, if I remember. It actually says right here on the package. Is it on this one? Oh yeah, see, look, let's see. You actually, if I can get it to focus, which I can't because my big old head there is there, you can see it's 13% hazelnut. So what's funny is it used to be crunchy because it was a hazelnut, and now it is not. So it's almost like adding back in crunchy stuff is fun and delightful. It'd be fun to put some pecan pieces in there, peanuts, things like that. Us Americans love peanuts. I was talking with someone earlier today and other words, and don't get me wrong, nowadays in 2021, Americans eat Nutella and know about it. But back in my day, and even not so long ago, peanut butter was, and I would say still is, our Nutella, right? It's a staple. Obviously, if it's not in your house, it's not in your house for allergy, whatever reasons. But it's just like everyone eats peanut butter, everyone. And equivalently, right? Every European I've ever met always eats Nutella or eats it frequently. I did have one in our test run who didn't really like sweet stuff or Nutella, but there's always exceptions. I don't really like sweet stuff either. So anyhow, I think that was a pretty good, let's go back to this 2-camera thing. Yeah, I need some little modifications, but I think that worked out well, and I'll have to see if this streamed to all of these multiple locations. There was really nothing about digital transformation and doing better at software in this video. But I do have a new book that came out. You can't really get it a PDF at the moment because we don't have the, as we say, landing page, the place where you can go and download it. But it was published, that I've talked a lot about here. Now, if you want to be on the lookout for it, if you go to tanzutalk.com, there's a little videos link up in the top, and you can find a link to it there eventually. And really, don't tell anyone. But if you want a copy of it, just contact me, and I'll try to get you a copy of it before the landing page thing comes out there. So, hey, I'll probably still do a broadcast tomorrow at my usual time, like 10 a.m., 10:30, 11 a.m., sometime in the morning, Amsterdam time. And you can always go check out archives. And with that, we'll see everyone next time.